we see Avram sent Eliezer to find a wife for Yitzchak. When did Eliezer get excited? And he said, "Oh, he found the right one." And he came, and Rivka was there by the well, and she gave him to drink, and she gave the Gemalim to drink. So Eliezer says, "Oisai Chachta," that's the one that Hashem wanted for Yitzchak. And how did he know? So the Ran already says that the water came up. But Rashi says the Ran is a different shot. The Ran says he saw the way she was acting. It doesn't say she just went ahead and she gave him. It always says a lesson of rot. She ran to help him out. She ran to give the Gemalim. And when Avraham Avinu sent Eliezer to go find the wife for Yitzchak, he said to him, this is what the Ran says, he said to him, I need you to look for one thing. I need you to look for somebody who's a Bar Midas. Because Deis, says the Ran, you could change. Shittas of a person you could change most of the time. Midas, says the Ran, you can't change. So he said to her, I have to go find something. You're looking for a shidduch, says the Ran. The main thing you look for is a Bar Midas. That's the first thing you look for, and the last thing you look for. Everything else is a plus.
Oh my gosh.
That's what the Ran says. But we learn that a lot of what we have today by Chasanis and by Kedushin is learned out from this week's Parsha. Presents that we said, we learned out from this week's Parsha. Now there's a pasuk in this week's Parsha that says that after Besul agreed on Lavan, Besul's name Lavan agreed to send Rivka. So it says, "Vayivarchu es Rivka vayemer la achayseinu ata yila alfei revava v'yir zarech eshar soinov." They gave Rivka a bracha. Vayivarchu es Rivka. Now Tosfos in Ksubis says a very interesting thing. When you read the pasuk Vayivarchu es Rivka, you understand to mean that they gave Rivka a bracha. She should be matzliach, wherever she's going, she's getting married. Bracha v'atzlacha. Tosfos in Ksubis says a little differently. The Gemara in Ksubis wants to know, how do we know that you have to have Sheva brachas? Bereshis Nesuin, after you get married for 7 days, you have Sheva brachas. So the Gemara in Ksubis learns that from a pasuk. Tosfos says, when Masechtas Kala, the Maisi Kra, the Yivarchu es Rivka. The Masechtas Kala, they bring a different pasuk. How do you know that you have to have Bereshis Nesuin? Bereshis Nesuin is the Sheva brachas. Because it says, Vayivarchu es Rivka. It says over here that when they sent Rivka away, they gave Rivka a bracha, Vayivarchu es Rivka. So Tais says a kasha. The Gemara brings one Makar from Boyaz. It says also Lashon bracha, Vayikach Hasar Anashim V'zikna Yeh Vayem Shvupoi. It says over there that they made Bereshis Nesuin. Tais over here says, the Masechtas Kala says a different Makar, how we know you make a bracha. It says Tais no. Ikla Meimar, Tahasam Bereshis Erisin, Vahacha Bereshis Nesuin. In the case of Boyaz, that was Bereshis Nesuin, it's a Sheva brachas. And in the pasuk of Vayivarchu es Rivka, this pasuk is not talking about Sheva brachas, Bereshis Nesuin. This is talking about Bereshis Erisin. Bereshis Erisin is the bracha that we make under the chuppah. Asher Hitler Lanu Suas Lanu. That's the brachas. That's Bereshis Erisin. We learn from over here that Bereshis Erisin you could make through a shliach. That Eliezer was a shliach. He was a messenger to go ahead and be Mekadosh Yitzchak to Rivka. He made the kedushin and he made a Bereshis Erisin. So here we learn that you could have a shliach. The Torah says v'nir that smachta ba'almihi that maybe it's only a smachta ba'alm, but really you cannot use a shliach for Bereshis Erisin. That's Tyson. Now what's going on over here?
So this would mean that when Rivka got back,
she was ready to
if Abraham didn't approve, it's too late. You have to give a get.
Yeah.
You have to give a get.
Correct.
But they're married.
They're married. Erisin, Kedushin.
Right.
Nesuin, Kedushin, yeah. So, now what's going on over here in Tosfos? You could do it through a shliach, you can't do it through a shliach. And what is Bereshis Erisin? We all know when someone gets married, we make a bracha. The Masad Kedusha makes a bracha under the chuppah, and then you say Aram Kadesh Asli. That bracha that we're making before the man puts the ring, the chasa puts the ring on the kala. that bracha is called Bereshis. So what type of bracha is that? We know there's a few different types of brachas that we make. Something called Bereshis. Bereshis is when you eat something, you make a bracha beforehand. You finish eating, you thank Hashem. There's Bereshis mitzvahs. Before we do a mitzvah, we put on tefillin, you put on tablets, and make a bracha. Then there's something called Bereshis Hashvach. A bracha that we thank Hashem. Ben Shkoimel, those type of things are Bereshis Hashvach. You have over here under the chuppah, we all did it. We give a chosin to a kala, gives a ring, and we say Arei HaMekadesh Asli. Before that, there's a bracha that the Masad Kedushin is making. What type of bracha is that? What is that bracha for? It's a Bereshis mitzvahs. What type of bracha is that bracha that the Masad Kedushin is making? The brachas afterwards, we know, it's a Bereshis Hashvach. After you get married, you have 7 brachas for 7 days. Fine, that's Bereshis Hashvach. What's this bracha of Erusin beforehand? So it's been machlokes in the Poskim, what that is. And really it starts, is getting married a mitzvah or not? Is it a mitzvah to get married? Now, I don't want any personal feelings in this. I want to know if, is there...
For a man or a woman?
Any of them.
Definitely not a woman. Man for sure.
Okay, we'll see. Why is it a mitzvah for a man to get married?
You can't do pruvu.
So it's a mitzvah to... The mitzvah is pruvu. The mitzvah is pruvu.
Get married on pruvu.
The mitzvah is to have kids, right? Pruvu is a mitzvah to have kids. Now, everyone agrees that the marriage is not the mitzvah. There's a shayla, how you can mitzvah pruvu? Is it the B is the mitzvah or not? That's a whole different question. But everyone agrees that the marriage is not the key of pruvu. It's not the mitzvah of having kids. So what is there a mitzvah to get married or not?
Well, it says that in Mishpatim you have to give your wife clothing.
Once she's married.
Yeah, so obviously you can't do that unless...
Well, in Bereshis...
So it's a hechsher mitzvah for shechshes vayna?
He's not supposed to be alone.
It's a hechsher mitzvah for shechshes vayna.
No, it's the same thing as the sisters. If you don't wear a four-garment ring, you don't have to wear sisters.
Okay, I'll say something else.
What about in Bereshis? It says all Kenyas of Ishas.
Is that a mitzvah? Is that a positive mitzvah?
Yeah, it's a David Ishta.
There's something else. In Parshas Kisei it says Ki'ikach ish isha.
Yeah.
When a person takes Ki'ikach ish isha, V'aleo Snaya, right? It says over there Ki'ikach. Is that a mitzvah? Is that a commandment that you should marry?
No.
I'll ask another question. We'll go back a second.
According to who?
Is there a mitzvah to shecht an animal?
Yeah.
These are connected?
Is there a mitzvah to shecht an animal? Is there one of the mitzvahs in the Torah to shecht an animal? I'll ask you more. Is there a mitzvah to wash your hands before you eat?
Only for carbon.
So you can say, what do you mean? If you want to eat something, you have to shecht it. Right? So of course it's a mitzvah. You have to shecht in order to eat. Well, that's called the hechsher mitzvah. You have to know what's called a mitzvah.
You don't have to eat an animal.
You don't have to eat, but if you want to eat.
Well, for a carbon, you have to give a carbon.
Yeah, something else.
There you have to shecht.
Okay, something else. But carbon is the
That might be
shchita.
a hechsher.
That's for shchita's carbon, but not shchita's if you want to eat. So you make a bracha on shchita. A shekel shem doesn't buy all shchita. Yeah, you make a bracha on shchita. That's the question. Is it a mitzvah?
It's a mitzvah to do shchita, but you don't have to do shchita.
No.
Is it one of the Taryag mitzvahs?
It's not a mitzvah to say that.
Is it one of the Taryag mitzvahs? We have Taryag mitzvahs. Is shchita one of the Taryag mitzvahs or not?
For a korban. For a korban, yes.
For a carbon, not for a carbon. If you want to eat something. Is shchita one of the Taryag mitzvahs or not? If you want to eat, you have to shecht. Does that make it one of the Taryag mitzvahs or not?
Obviously not.
It's a machlekes, so it's one of the Taryag mitzvahs. Yeah.
That's why he's asking.
Yeah.
You should have known that.
Ah, we're all right.
Well, the Kedushin is definitely a machlekes because the Rambam in his Sefer Mitzvahs, one of the mitzvahs is Kedushin. It's to marry. Kikach ish isha. But it doesn't say it's a hechsher mitzvah to have kids. It says it in itself is a mitzvah. Someone can have kids. Does he have a mitzvah to get married? According to the Rambam, he has a mitzvah to get married. According to the Rambam, it's a mitzvah to get married. Kedushin is a mitzvah. He learns it from Kikach ish isha.
But then
It's a
he
mitzvah.
divorced his wife after 10 years.
You can't have kids.
No, if he can't have kids.
He knows he can't have
He knows he
kids.
can't have kids. An older couple. An older
Gemara
couple.
have a whole list of these things that says if he doesn't get married, it's this punishment. He doesn't. If he gets married and he doesn't have approval, then it's this.
That's true, but it doesn't.
What happens if the guy is 60
doesn't
years
mean-
old? He's saying the guy
Right.
is 60
It
years
doesn't-
old.
No,
getting married.
it doesn't mean it's more than mitzvahs. It doesn't mean it's more tying mitzvahs to get married.
There's got to be the opposite to it. You get a scar for it.
Not everything we do is more than tying mitzvahs.
Okay.
Not everything is tying mitzvahs. I'm not saying, of course, anything a Jew does, either you're getting schafert or you're not getting schafert. Either it's good or it's bad. No one's going to disagree that marriage is something that you get schar for. 100%. I'm not disagreeing with that. But is it one of the tying mitzvahs or not? So the Rambam quotes as one of the tying mitzvahs. The Chinuch quotes as one of the tying mitzvahs. The Rosh and Ksubas says that it's not one of the tying mitzvahs. There's no mitzvah to get married. If you want to live with a lady, okay, you have to go ahead and get married. You have to have kedushin. The same if you want to shecht. If you want to eat something, you have to shecht it. The same thing, if you want to live with somebody, you have to have kedushin beforehand. But it's not one of the tying mitzvahs.
So you're saying the sisters too? Is that what you said?
Tzitzis is different. Tzitzis and sukkah are a whole different a league in itself. Because tzitzis, everyone agrees is a mitzvah.
Even if you don't want to wear it.
Even if you don't wear dalat kanfas, it's still one of the mitzvahs in the Torah. So when you're wearing dalat kanfas, you have to put tzitzis on it. Everyone agrees to that. That's one of the tying mitzvahs. But the Rosh, over there in Ksubis, on this Tosfos, the Rosh says, the brachas erisin that we have under the chuppah is not brachas mitzvah. It's not a bracha like you say when you put on tzitzis, or why not? The mitzvah is to have kids. That's the mitzvah. V'im lokach pilegesh. We take a pilegesh. This expression of Avram had a pilegesh. It's a whole shadow if you have a pilegesh today or not. We'll leave that for now.
Can't afford it.
You have to have two separate credit cards. V'kayim piriv rivya. Eile mechuyev l'kadosh isha. If let's say it's mutter to take a pilegesh, and pilegesh is without kedushin. Let's say someone and it's mutter to take a pilegesh, you can't piriv rivya that way. There's no din. You have to go ahead and get married. Someone who marries an old person that can't have kids, or someone who's younger can't have kids. Still, there's no mitzvah, and still we see Baruch and Bereshis chasanim. You still make the Bereshis erisin that we make under the chuppah. So if it's not a mitzvah, so why are you making that bracha? Ve'en chi b'mitzvah zu, she'en b'ki mitzvah piriv rivya. V'ilkach laniskana bracha b'mitzvah zu. There was no bracha made for this mitzvah. That's a very interesting thing. The Rosh holds Shchita is a mitzvah. But he says it's not done with the Shchita because Shchita says in the Torah is a vachta v'achalta. So the Rosh wants to say therefore it is considered one of the mitzvahs. He argues in the Rambam. It is considered one of the mitzvahs. But he says Kedushin is not one of the tying mitzvahs. So now when you make the Bereshis erisin under the chuppah, what is it? The Rosh says it's not a Bereshis mitzvah. It's a Bereshis shvach. We're thanking Hashem for it. And he brings other rayos. He says, it doesn't say anywhere in the mitzvah, Asher Kedushanim v'tzvayse v'tzivanu, in the Bereshis erisin. The nusach of Bereshis erisin, Asher Asal Lanu Surah Lanu v'hit Lanu Tzivanu al HaRayis. Tzivanu al HaRayis is what? So we're not allowed to live with HaRayis. Let's say that a positive thing of I have a positive thing to do a mitzvah of kedusha. That's the truth. That's the Rosh's original kasha. He says, "Ein mevarach Hashem kedusha lekadosh isha." V'kim Hashem eskin asiyas mitzvah ein tzarich levarach ever l'tziasan. That's something we'll get to that in a second. The Lashon is only that he asked lanu sasuris lanu hit lanu sasuris lanu. He asked if you're not married. There's mat if you are married. There's nowhere in the nusaka bracha of kedushin that it would be mekayim a mitzvah. Says the Rosh. You know why? Because it's not a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. The kedushin itself is not a mitzvah, so you don't make a bereshis a mitzvah on kedushin. We make a bereshis hashvach. Says the Rosh. Therefore, what's the nafkamina if the bereshis a mitzvah bereshis hashvach? Says the Rosh. There's two nafkaminas. One afkamin is we know a Bereshis and Mitzvah. You have to make over that siyasa. And if you make a bracha and a mitzvah, you have to make it before you do the mitzvah. You're taking a lulav, an esrog, you have to make it beforehand. That's why when you take the esrog and the lulav, you hold the esrog upside down. Because if you pick it up the right way, you're ready to carry the mitzvah. So you can't make the bracha anymore. Therefore, you pick it up upside down. You weren't yet to the mitzvah yet. You make the bracha, and then you turn it back around. Tzitzis, you have to make the bracha before you put on your talis. Once you put it on, there's a question if you can make a bracha now. Tefillin, always the Bereshis and mitzvahs is always over l'asiyasa before you go ahead and you do the mitzvah. Kedushin, there's a lot of Rishonim that say, not what we do it today. You take the chassid takes the ring, harei mekudeshes li, and after that they would make the bracha. After that they make the bracha. The question is why. So one of the reasons the Rosh says is because you're going to say the bracha that I'm going to become the mitzvah of kedushin, and then all of a sudden she gets cold feet. She says, "You know what? I'm not interested. It's a bracha levatala. I can't talk anymore."
It may not be the biggest problem at that moment.
You know the joke to say with the Al Kiddush Hashem. Yeah.
Good job. They got the gun?
Huh?
They got the gun?
Yeah. So a lot of Rishonim say the bracha is after the kedusha, not before the kedusha. After the kedusha, you make the bracha. Why? Because you may change your mind. Says the Rosh, if it's a Bereshis and mitzvah, every Bereshis and mitzvah has to be made beforehand, not afterwards. So how do you make it afterwards? Says the Rosh, it's a not Bereshis and mitzvah, it's a Bereshis and shvach. Here, it says here in Halacha, after you finish the bracha, you kaddish. Says the Beis Shmuel, the das kam poskim kaddish koydem bracha. Why? Kishem etachzav v'lay tirtza l'kabel. She'll change her mind. She'll get cold feet and she'll change her mind. She won't want to be mekabel the kedushin. But anan kaim no, we hold l'chatchili for koydem kedushin. We hold you should make the bracha before kedushin. But now, do we hold that way because we argue on the Rosh, and we hold that it's a Bereshis and mitzvahs? Or do we hold that way because even though it's a Bereshis and shvach, you should still make it beforehand? There's other nafkaminas. We go through a bunch of nafkaminas if it's a Bereshis and mitzvahs or it's a Bereshis and shvach. One is what we just said, if you have to make it beforehand and afterwards. Let's say someone made a mistake, and then did the kedushin and didn't make the bracha yet. If you hold it's a Bereshis and shvach, you could definitely still make the bracha. If you hold it's a Bereshis and mitzvah, you can't make the bracha anymore. It's finished. Mitzvah's over. There's another nafkamina. Bereshis and mitzvahs, you make yourself. You're doing a mitzvah, you're putting on tefillin. Someone's not mitzvah with the bracha. You do the bracha, you say the bracha yourself. So could someone else make the bracha for me? No. You make the bracha yourself. So you have your chassan. He's been mekadosh and nisha. Harei mekudeshes li. And someone else is making the bracha. Why is that? Why doesn't the chassan make the bracha himself? He should say the whole bracha and that's it. Rabbi Kadesh's li. Why is the Masada Kedushin make the bracha? Never bothered you?
You lose a kibbutz.
You lose a kibbutz. Okay. For one reason.
Maybe it's
because of
Chassan's very nervous, and therefore.
You might make a mistake.
Oh, okay, interesting. We'll see if that's true or not.
The big problem with the bracha, the hariyat, like Bereshis.
That itself, it's hard to get out.
No, for the idea.
Maybe for other reasons, it's hard to get it out. But
isn't it that you need aiding there?
Yeah, Eidim. Let the chassan make the bracha. So the Noid Yehuda brings down the Shayla, and he says, if it's a Bereshis and mitzvah, the right way to do it is the chassan should say the bracha and say, Rabbi Kadesh li, after the Mekadosh. It's a Bereshis and mitzvah. Why should you give it to somebody else for? Start a new minhag, right? That the chassan should make the bracha.
What about the challah? Couldn't the challah make the bracha too?
So the question also is, it's a Bereshis and mitzvah. Maybe the challah is mechuyev to make the bracha. Maybe the challah is mechuyev to make the bracha.
Now that's a new mitzvah.
They like, huh? It says over here like this.
Somehow I think that's happened.
It says the Mechaber, and as far as they have this, I'm not sure why. As far as they have the minhag. Kol HaMekadesh Isha, Anybody who's mekadosh a woman, who does kedushin, beinai de atza, beinai de shliach, mevarich. He himself makes the bracha, says the Mechaber. I don't know how it works best for them today, but I think there's also they don't make the bracha.
No.
They don't.
I have never been a spider with it.
The Mechaber says, who makes the bracha? The person. Or a shliach. Or if you make a shliach, which you don't see today at all. Shliach means you tell somebody to say a Re'ah Mekadeshas for him. That you don't see at all. So the shliach will make the bracha. But that we don't see at all. But we have the person's Mekadesh, says the Mechaber, he makes the bracha. He himself should make the bracha. It's Bereshis mitzvah. Why should somebody else make the bracha for? You put out tefillin, you make the bracha. I'm being Mekadesh and somebody else makes the bracha. Why? The Mechaber says that the person who's Mekadesh, he makes the bracha.
And the Ramah?
Says the Ramah, V'yesh aimrim de'achar mevarich. Some people say that somebody else should make the bracha, v'chein noyagin, and that's our minig. Now why? Why is yesh aimrim de'achar mevarich? So says the Beis Shmuel, de'achar mevarich. Why? Shaloi levayish mi she'ein yedei levarich. Not to embarrass somebody who doesn't know how to make the bracha. So he comes down to the chuppah, it's a long bracha, hard bracha, and the guy's not going to know how to read, and he's going to be embarrassed.
Happy.
Yeah, his wife's not going to be too happy. She can make the bracha maybe, and he can't make the bracha. Shaloi levayish. So it means really, the bracha under the chuppah, the chassan should be making. Not somebody else.
According to the Chaber anyway.
Even according to the Ramah.
Kind of agree.
Even according to the Ramah. The Ramah says that the minig is that acha yivarech. Why? Not to embarrass the person. But otherwise he should make the bracha. Now it's a bit, we have to go a step further. It's a big nafkamina. That means if it's a berachos shvach, so someone else can make the bracha, fine, he makes the bracha. Here, the chassan has to make the bracha really. I'm sending somebody else to make the bracha for me. That's what's happening under the chuppah. You're sending the Masada Kedushin to make the bracha for you.
But you never see the chassan telling the
fine.
You should be doing that.
You're right. You probably should be doing that. But even more, the chassan has to understand that with the bracha that's being made, it's his bracha. He has to have a mind.
Doesn't know that.
If he's thinking about something else,
You think
of the
We're all messed up, by the way. We're all messed up.
I'll say it again. If he's thinking about something else, then it's a problem.
I think you've just annulled a lot of marriages.
So that we once spoke about, that we once spoke about.
But the evidence still.
Yeah. There's another machlokes. Bereshis mitzvahs. If you didn't make it, if it's makim in the mitzvah, you have to make a bracha. You put on tefillin, you have to make a bracha. And you didn't make the bracha. Where you weren't yet to the mitzvah. Most of the hold the yet to the mitzvah. So even here, if the chassan is supposed to make the bracha and he didn't have a mind, he didn't make the bracha. Let's say he said Re'ah Mekadeshas li, the kedushin is chal. So we're not.
Is that when you make Borei Priya Gafen after that?
Oh, so the Borei Priya Gafen also, that's the next time I can get to. The chassan has to have a mind.
Because you just reminded me that I was at a wedding where the chassan
said the Borei Priya Gafen?
Yeah. So he must have said the one.
Could be, I wonder. I would like to know that too.
Before.
Was it Sephardi wedding?
Sort of, yeah. It was a He's sort of
Taimani. So Taimanis keep to religion that they had from years ago. They don't change. It could be the Sephardim over here.
The Rambam.
Yeah.
You hold that Rambam.
Yeah. So it could be that the Sephardim that are mixed with us, they change because of our minig. But according to the Mechaber, we don't see any place in the Mechaber that somebody else should make the bracha, not the chassan. It's his mitzvah. He should make the bracha. We don't find anyways. Sephardim really should make their own bracha under the chuppah. Now, we don't. Fine. Somebody else makes the bracha for us. He's a shliach for us to make the bracha. That means you have to have a mind when the Tzaddik Kedusha is making the bracha. You have to have a mind to be able to with that bracha. It's your Bereshis mitzvah.
So why doesn't the rabbi that gives all these guys tips underneath the
Sure.
You do. The rabbi always tells you you're not allowed to speak. You can't
No,
talk.
but you should say more that you're a rabbi shliach to do this. And
No, you
that.
can't say. He tells you don't answer Baruch Shmo. Every rabbi.
Yeah, Baruch Hu Baruch Shemai, right. So the chassan answer Baruch Hu Baruch. You can't.
No.
Okay. But
Because
You
it's
can't
his
answer Baruch Hu Baruch
bracha.
you
Shemai.
should say it's your bracha and someone put that.
No, he tells. I've been under chuppahs 100%.
Asking somebody
A good rav On the chuppahs, when I ever took videos, he tells them you're not allowed to talk,
would like you to
you're
be
not
my
allowed to say, don't
Okay,
ask.
so-
The most important thing, don't ask.
It's good enough for him to. It's good.
No,
Make him a
but he's saying
shliach.
something
He has
different.
to have a mind.
Does the
What I'm
Rav
saying,
say,
I'm not asking for
I'm,
before.
I'm your shliach?
Yeah, it's enough to
I'm
be.
saying you brought
It's
it
enough.
up.
It's enough that it's called a shliach. Yeah.
Rabbi Shabbat is obligated to say amen to validate that it should.
Yes.
He has to say amen.
Yes, say amen. Chazan has to say amen.
Then that makes up for the fact that he's not
Right.
saying
There's a question. If there's a question if the amen, we spoke about this once also. If someone's mighty with the Bereshis mitzvah, and I don't say amen, was that yaitza or not?
I think the answer is yes.
Were you yaitza?
I think you are, because I know that when a rabbi makes kiddush at the kiddush here, half the shul doesn't hear him. They don't say amen.
That's what it's right. That's what it's right.
That's not right. But that's,
We saw Muhammad that says
yeah.
they have to answer amen.
I would think so also. But
Yeah, although it's not yaitza the mitzvah.
you go.
So that's a Bereshis mitzvah. So we have to understand the chosin is making a shliach for Bereshis mitzvah. He has to have a mind. And after that, the next step is that when you make the Borei Pri Hagafen, it's the chosin's. It's really the chosin's Borei Pri Hagafen. He's doing all the kites. The chosin has to drink. We always give the chosin the drink from the Bereshis Eresim, the kites. The reason is because it's his bracha really. The Masad Kedushin.
He doesn't drink.
Yes, you
Sure
Does he?
First one. Both of them.
Yeah,
But the first one, the Rav drinks.
The Rav drinks first?
the chosin drink also. The chosin also drinks.
But who makes, the person who makes the bracha?
He drinks and he gives to the chosin. Yeah, he drinks and he gives to the chosin. He doesn't have to drink really.
He's not
The
making it
Masad
for
Kedushin
himself.
doesn't have to
That's what
doesn't have to
I
drink. He could just make the bracha
Yeah.
and give it straight to the
Yeah, I've seen
chosin
that happen.
kala. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
They don't have to drink. The Masad Kedushin doesn't have to drink. They give it straight to the chosin kala. And it's important for the chosin kala to drink. Not to make a big deal about it. You know, they always worry about the kala's dress and everything. You know, if it wouldn't be so important, they wouldn't make a big deal about it. It is important. It's very important the chosin kala drink from the kais of Eresim because really it's their bracha.
Right.
It's their bracha. They're making a shliach to make the bracha for them. That's what we have to understand. It's their bracha. There's other reasons why somebody else makes the bracha, not the chosin. Oh, they'll bring it down in the okay. Yeah, they'll bring it down in the okay.
Is this the only example of a Bereshis mitzvah that somebody else could make?
No, with a shofar, someone else makes it for you. Because there is being might to you with the bracha. But everyone knows you have to be mechaven to be able to the bracha. The other brachas everybody knows. Bereshis mitzvah, everybody knows you mechaven to be able with the bracha. But kedusha, for some reason, a lot of people don't know that the chas and the kala have to have a mind to be yetzer with the bracha and the masada kedusha. It's not a kibud. The berachas.
Why can't somebody make your bracha for your children for you? Let's say you can't speak Hebrew very well, and I want to
It could. Better than it could.
You could, yeah.
It could. Someone could be yetzer with the bracha, but it's your bracha.
Yeah.
It's
You
your
have to have a mind,
bracha.
and you have to say amen, and then
Right,
you
right.
do the mitzvah.
That's correct.
And
You
that's like
could.
you said the bracha.
That's right. But it's always better the person himself makes the bracha. Why also over here by kedushin the chassan never makes the bracha?
So what's the answer?
So it says the vayish.
So they make the rule that no one.
The Beis Shmuel says the reason is levayish misha any day levarich. Someone doesn't want to make the bracha, he'll be embarrassed.
Oh, that was, I forgot the reason, yes. That was, I knew.
I wasn't sure when you walked out.
Yeah.
It was at that point.
So that's why no one does it.
That's why nobody doesn't. He says so Timon Chassan. So it's Friday. If you look in the Mechaber doesn't mention a word about somebody else making the bracha. It's all the Chassan making the bracha.
Just don't want to embarrass the chassan, that's right.
They don't embarrass the Chassan, therefore he doesn't make the bracha.
Even like a Talmud Chacham.
Isn't it kind of the opposite of being called up to the Torah where you say the bracha and you're really supposed to read?
There is something else.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's the same thing as
But
Kriya.
when you say the bracha, you're supposed to.
Nobody, you're not allowed to.
But
You're supposed to do our own
But
Kriya.
ideally you're supposed to actually read it yourself.
Yeah, it used to be that way.
You don't do it.
Now the
there's
people
a
don't know how to do it.
It's also embarrassment. So if you're the biggest Talmud Chacham, you still get to do it? No, they don't. But there are some Rosh Yeshivas that actually I've seen that they do.
Do what?
By Kriya. It's your mitzvah. When you make a bench on Kriya,
Chris, that's
Oh,
right.
Chris, Yeah.
it's your
You
mitzvah,
said
right?
that, yeah. You should
But,
learn it.
right, you should learn it, but we don't do it because we don't want to embarrass
Right.
people.
Right, right.
So what happens if a big shot comes and he wants to do it?
But we
You're
don't
actually
do it.
allowed to, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we don't do it because then where did he draw the line?
It is the whole effect, yeah.
I would think that
I have seen that there were few people who have done it. I don't remember exactly where, but I've seen it.
when on a regular Shabbos or by Simchas Torah.
No. Shabbos.
On a regular Shabbos? Yeah, so a lot of people do it, but on a regular Shabbos.
And most people do it, really?
Yeah. So besides the common thing, people lay in their aliyah.
Wow. Because most people do. Most guys who could lay, they know that. They've heard it enough times.
People that get laid, right?
Some people want to do their bar mitzvah course or for a yard site or something. More so tough to
remember, in the olden days, they didn't have books and Sfarm. Everything is left there.
Yeah.
So it was much easier for them to do it. By us, everything is in Sfarm.
Right, so we came out a few and a half minutes if you hold it. Started off again that is kedusha mechal mitzvah or not? It's a machlokes no shayim. If the mechal is a mitzvah to have kedusha, if you hold it's not a mitzvah, so the bracha before kedusha in the chayra is not a brichas mitzvah. So it should be a brichas shvach. That's what the Rosh holds. According to the Rosh, it's a brichas shvach. You can make it afterwards. And according to the Rosh, if it's brichas shvach, somebody else can make it for you also. This that we're saying here, that it's better the chassan should do it, is only because if you say it's a brichas mitzvah. Now the question is, how do we pass it? We hold it to brichas mitzvah, or do we hold it to brichas shvach? Which one do we hold? So if you look in the Mechaber, he says the chassan has to make the bracha. You have to make it beforehand. It's mashma, it's a brichas mitzvah. It's mashma, it's a brichas mitzvah. That's why the chassan should make it. You have to make it beforehand. The question starts when, let's say you didn't make the bracha beforehand, you forgot. Do we say it's definitely a brichas mitzvah? You can't make it. There's not a lot of shuvas to have someone who can't hear, a cheresh who can't hear, so you can't make the bracha. What does he do? Somebody else make it. Is it brichas shvach? It's not a problem or not? That's the question.
Tell me, just by watching the mouth.
I can't have somebody. He doesn't hear. He doesn't hear. So and these questions all go into if it's a brichas shvach or brichas mitzvahs. That's all these questions go into. But the interesting thing is that the Rosh says that kedushin is not a mitzvah. Right? If you want to live together, you have to get married. Therefore, there's no brichas mitzvahs. But the Rosh himself says shchita is a mitzvah. You make a bracha on shchita. It's a mitzvah, even though you don't have to eat and you don't have to shecht. The Tilas Udayim, Eruvin, the Rambam in Sefer Mitzvahs, the Ramban on the Rambam in Sefer Mitzvahs goes through a bunch of mitzvahs like that. He says Eruvin. Is Eruvin a mitzvah?
Only when you need it.
Well, Eruvin.
Only when you need it.
And if you don't need it?
Don't need it.
So is Eruvin a mitzvah? To make Eruv, is it a mitzvah?
It's a machlokes.
You get the hang of this. Pretty good. You get the hang of it.
We say on Eruv, we say Shekhet Deshana b'mitzvah v'tzivana al Eruv. We say it. The Rabban says even though we say that, it's not a mitzvah. Eruv and Tilas Udayim, Shchita, these things are mitzvahs. You have to do it if you want to eat. You have to wash your hands. You have to shecht. I told the Ramban. The Ramban says, "Ain't mitzvasa b'chiyav klav le'til lacham al adam shitel yadav klav lechol v'naitel yadav asara pa'amim b'yoyim v'oichol ein lezeh mitzvah yesim lezeh aval elu heter ha'isur hein." These things are all to be matter and isur. You have an issue, you can't eat before you wash. You gotta wash your hands. You can't eat before you shecht. So you have to shecht. You can't carry unless you have an eruv, so you have to make an eruv. Says about these things are not called mitzvahs. These things are called mater iser. It was also beforehand. These are mater adavar aser. It's not a mitzvah.
If you make a bracha, is that a mitzvah?
It's not what I'm telling you, mitzvah shwana.
I'm just asking, is it a mitzvah?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
And the tzivui that was mentioned in the bracha.
Ashaka the shana b'mitzvah is that you have to shecht in order to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
So the fact that a bracha has bet sivanu and it doesn't make the following
right.
after.
That's what I wanted to feel like. The fact that you have in a bracha ashaka the shana b'mitzvah v'tzivanu does not mean it's more than tying mitzvahs. That's what we see from the Rambam. You can say something ashaka the shana b'mitzvah v'tzivanu, and you'll open up a sefer, you look tying mitzvahs. There's not more than tying mitzvahs.
But we were given the tzivui of how to be matzah.
Correct.
That's the tzivui.
That's the tzivui. Right. It's not a tzivui of that's the mitzvah. But like we said before, whatever somebody does, either you're getting schar for it or you're not. Or it's the opposite. But there's nothing parav. Nothing about us that something is parav. I'm not that there's no schar, there's no einish. No such thing with Jews. Whatever we do, either we're getting payment or it's the opposite. There's no such thing as I'm doing nothing now. If you're doing nothing, then you should be doing something. That itself is a problem.
Nothing.
Right. Otherwise, I'm doing something, so you get a schar for it.
In the case of shechting, there's two reasons to shecht. Right? One is for a korban, one is to eat.
Right.
In a person's life, he needs to shecht for the korban. That's a mitzvah.
That could be, but the shchita for chulin, shchita's chulin.
For chulin, right?
Yeah, for chulin.
But if it's a korban, everybody agrees that's a mitzvah.
100%. It's one of the.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
Good.
Oh, yeah.